Morning. I've just received my first tag video, and this was from ThumpercubAZ, as he would say AZ and I'd say AZ, because he's from Arizona. Anyway, so he asked a few questions. I think there's 10 of them. The first question he asked was, who was your first teacher? Well, my first memory of a teaching experience was with my mother, because she taught me to read before I went to school, because she was a teacher. So I was learning to read, and I started ad-libbing on the words in the thing, and that's I said, "See the silly old boats," because I was so bored with this text at the age of 3 or 4 or whatever it was when I was learning to read. Anyway, so yes, that was my first learning memory. And at school I had my first teacher was somebody called Mrs. Harvey, who I had for 1 term. Anyway, so that was my first teacher experience, or teaching experience, or being taught experience. The second question was, which concert was the first concert you went to? And that, well, I started attending classical concerts when I was a teenager, because I accompanied my mother. Can I remember what we saw? No, it was probably the Halley Orchestra from Manchester, because that's the sort of people who did regular things, concerts there. Basically the concert season was mostly Beethoven and Brahms, so it was probably that sort of thing, a Brahms symphony, a Beethoven something, and a Haydn symphony. Anyway, so that sort of thing. It was sort of fairly bog standard classical music, probably about the age 13, 14, that sort of age. Anyway, my first other gig was when I was 18. I went to see The Damned in Reading. A friend of mine from college took me to see them, and the Anti-Nowhere League. I think the Anti-Nowhere League are still going somewhere, or they've reformed, or so. Anyway, whatever. But anyway, that was the first other kind of concert I went to. 3. We went over to sport. Sport's not my thing, really. I did go to see football matches when I was at university. I quite like going to see live football. That's soccer, not any other kind of football, just in case you're thinking. And I got a season ticket to go and see Oxford United at the Manor Ground, as it was then. They've now got another new stadium, and but I went to the Manor Ground, which is probably one of the smallest grounds in the league at the time. Of course, naturally, Oxford United were playing, and many others. I can't remember who, to be honest. I think Oxford didn't do very well that season, or did they do? They did okay, I think. They were near the top, but they didn't go up. Anyway, that was a long time ago. So that's 4 and 5. The fifth question was, what was my first job? Well, the first job I had was working at Standard Fireworks, and this was between school and university. I left school in December and went to university in the October, so I had 10 months to kill, and I went and got a job at Standard Fireworks, and I was somebody called a carrier out. It's a firework factory, lots of small huts, so they need people to carry things around. So I was one of the people who was carrying things around. So that was my first job, and it meant I went to university with a bit of money in my back pocket. Ooh, next one, 6. First traffic ticket. Oh God, I have no idea. I've only been caught for speeding a couple of times, so it's probably a parking ticket. It's the most likely form of traffic ticket to get, and most of the time these things are speeding tickets are done by you get a letter in the post with a picture saying things. So parking ticket would be what I would have received from and probably from parking too long in some spot. You know, there'll be a traffic warden hovering with a ticket ready to give it out at 1 minute after you're over the time. Anyway, okay, my first pet. I've never had a pet of my own, to be honest. It was not a thing. My mother had a dog called Julie. Julie was a few years older than my sister, so she had a couple of years before. And Julie was a greyhound. We used to go take it walking. But other than that, not really had a pet. Didn't go for pets either. Oh dear, I'm turning into a bit of a bore, aren't I? Really, I suppose. So that was 8, 9. Oh, we're going further down. First alcoholic drink. Well, I've never drunk alcohol. So the only thing I ever get generally is sherry in trifle. That wonderful British concoction of fruit and custard and cream that makes a trifle. The fruit is often marinated in sherry, so that's about the only alcohol I ever consume, because I will eat trifle with sherry in it. And so that's probably it, but not a great thing. And number 10, when did I first time I moved out of my parents' house, the first and only time I moved out of my parents' house, I suppose, in a sense, was when I went to university. I left home and but came back in the summer, and the first summer I didn't come home was when I was 21, so between my 3rd and 4th years. We stayed in college accommodation for the summer, and we did all sorts of things. So it was, and that was a summer that they didn't pay any unemployment and social security benefit to people because everybody was on strike in the office. So the net result was that at the end of the term, I'd lived on £36 for 15 weeks. So basically I think I spent it on bread and baked beans, but we did have a market, so that was okay, so we could do things with that. And we used to go and scrounge vegetables and things, and I was very sick of courgettes and tomatoes, so sort of that sort of vegetable mix of that was sort of a ratatouille type style was something I couldn't eat for about another 5 years, because I was so heartily sick of it. Basically I was eating it every evening, that and bread. Anyway, so that was my first experience of moving out of my parents' house. So that's my first tag video. I hope it's of interest to people, and I'll have to think of who I will tag and how I will do things. So take care, see you around.